In 2016, the political establishment watched their models break. A candidate with zero institutional backing bypassed every academic and political firewall to take the presidency, and the traditional math of elections failed. Then a second anomaly emerged in the financial elite. An Ohio high school math teacher acquired the power of attorney over a billionaire and suddenly had former presidents and the world's most powerful tech founders begging him for money. The public's natural reaction to these anomalies is to assume a unified cabal sits in a smoke-filled room. But according to geopolitical analyst Professor Jiang, focusing on a single, monolithic secret society misses the actual mechanics of how power functions. Jiang utilizes psychohistory, applying mathematical patterns to large-scale human behavior to identify where power is heading. By looking past the politicians, we can see the macro forces driving the timeline. Trump and Epstein represent the visible symptoms of a much deeper system. Their rise demonstrates a decentralized network that is actively accelerating the collapse of current institutions. At the base of this system are the occultists, religious extremists who believe the world must end to be repaired, fulfilling apocalyptic prophecies. Parallel to them are the financiers. Having conquered the material world, they now seek absolute control over life, death, and the flow of information. These two groups form a functional alliance. The religious factions provide the vision for a global end state, while the financiers supply the capital required to reach it. To execute this vision, they utilize a third pillar, the politicians. These figures are identified early, elevated into power, and used as pawns to drive specific agendas on the global stage. The nodes operate as an interconnected, functional system. Ideology comes from the religious fringe. Money comes from the billionaires, and political implementation is handled by the pawns. This triad positions key individuals at the top of declining empires to increase the speed of the system's natural decay. They are forcing a conclusion that benefits their long-term interests. Jeffrey Epstein functioned as a bridge between the financiers and the political pawns they needed to compromise. This explains how a young, unqualified math teacher was inexplicably elevated into the highest circles of power by figures like David Rockefeller. He was being developed into an agent of the triad. Jiang traces Epstein's tactics back to an 18th century movement led by Jacob Frank. Frank taught that true redemption required the deliberate violation of social taboos, an idea called redemption by sin. By engaging in forbidden acts together, the elite formed unbreakable bonds. Modern blackmail operations are the direct evolution of this practice. By forcing powerful people to violate the most severe social taboos, the triad creates a permanent contract of loyalty through shared guilt. Epstein's operation provided the triad with a standard method for ensuring that the political class remains compliant. It was the standard process for compromising leaders and ensuring they follow the accelerationist agenda. While shadow networks handle the players, the official geopolitical board is under extreme stress. To maintain its status, the American empire has transitioned into a survival strategy based on global intimidation. Lacking the ground forces for total occupation, the U.S. now focuses on locking down maritime shipping canals. By controlling these choke points, the empire can effectively tax global trade and maintain its dominance. The official mandate from the Pentagon involves deliberately fostering friction across Eurasia. This keeps global allies dependent on the West for military support, energy resources, and dollar-based financing. This strategy requires the U.S. military to supply multiple high-intensity proxy wars in Eastern Europe, the Middle East, and East Asia simultaneously. Managing these conflicts drains the national treasury, bringing the empire to the point of imperial overstretch. The official strategy and the triad's hidden agenda both lead to the same terminal point. This cycle of conflict creates the exact institutional fatigue required for the triad to accelerate the empire's end. Professor Jiang predicts that this forced acceleration will lead to a total global collapse of the economic, political, and social order within the next 50 years. The symptoms are intensifying. Unwinnable ground wars, severe domestic polarization, and civil chaos in Western cities are becoming the new baseline. Throughout this decline, the media and the elite will urge the public to trust the experts. They will demand continued faith in a system that is showing clear signs of systemic failure. The only viable defense against this collapse is to stop following the mainstream. Educate yourself, build local resilience, and focus on tight-knit communities that can withstand the coming volatility.